Dude, I am so not ready for transferring all of these links from one computer to the other. I am totally not ready. Oh, wait, it played another song. All right. Nice. Excellent. I don't think I need one more. We could probably get this done. Just got to move over a couple more links. Welcome to the Space and Rocket Review. Space and Rocket Review. You two girls. Tell your friends. Space and Rocket Review. Okay. Oh, man, I am a mess. I am just a hot little potato right now. Wow. All right, I almost got everything here. Keep in mind, these are just a bunch of viewer submitted links. I got to figure out if we're... okay, there we go. All right, I don't even know if these are sorted, but let's just roll with it. It's fine. Just so you know, I own you. What's up, Ozzy? How are you? All right. I know you don't cover Russian spaceflight this much. We're going to watch MS-27 tonight. That's the big one. I will be covering that. I guess we can start off with that. What's this about? All right. This is something. So this is Katya Pavlichenko. What's up? I'm not sure to believe it or not, but an RTS tour operator, which offers tours to Baikonur for space launches, announced an option to visit the MZK building to see Buran 1.02 and the OKMT mockup, as well as the Energia mockup, also stored by RTC Telegram. Huh. Interesting. That's kind of cool. You're in the Energia fan club? Yeah. Yeah, that orbiter is not in good shape. That whole building's not in good shape, dude. Woof. Kills me to see that thing like that, dude. That just sucks. But hey, what are you gonna do? 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 What's stopping people from sneaking in and getting valuable spaceflight hardware? Yeah, I wonder. I wonder what is stopping. You notice there's a couple of parts missing off this thing. Buy them and ship them? There's no way Russian exports would let that happen. Damn, dude. I'm sad it's not in a museum or space. Yeah. It's not in Russia, though.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
It is? Baikonur is least Russian territory, spoiled, before we get into that argument. It's least Russian territory. It's on Russian soil. Physically, that soil resides in Baikonur. But that's like saying Guantanamo Bay is part of Cuba, for instance. It's not, but it is, but it's not, but it is. See what I'm saying? Same idea. Strategically transfer equipment to an alternative location. I'm pretty sure people would notice you moving around like a 40-ton space shuttle around, you know, like strategically transfer the equipment to an alternative location. Yeah, yeah. Once again, I'm pretty sure people would notice that. That is not exactly a small thing. I'll just put it in my pocket. Okay, all right. Next bit of news. All right, let's go. Next bit of news. Yeah, hopefully that's something cool. All right, so we also have Project Kuiper this week. The Project Kuiper launch is scheduled to go on Wednesday at 7. All right, it's launching on an Atlas 5 rocket. Here is the video from ULA. We got videos from Amazon, videos from ULA. Let's see what they're up to.
Following final confirmation of rocket readiness, the RD-180 engine and 5 GEM-63 solid rocket boosters ignite to produce more than 2 million pounds of thrust, lifting ULA's Atlas V rocket away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, the rocket begins a pitchover to attain the proper flight path while minimizing the dynamic pressure it experiences during flight. Atlas then reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound. The addition of 5 solid rocket boosters, or SRBs, precisely augment the liftoff thrust of the Atlas V, giving it the power to deliver the payload to orbit. With their propellant expired approximately 96 seconds into ascent, the SRBs burn out, followed by jettison. Atlas's guidance system then begins steering towards the precise target in space. Amazon's Kuiper satellites are encapsulated inside a 5-meter diameter payload fairing, which provides protection to the spacecraft during ascent. After crossing the Kármán line, entering space, the payload fairing is jettisoned. With the majority of propellant expended fighting against the force of gravity, the RD-180 engine shuts down and the booster stage separates. The rocket then begins second stage flight, weighing less than 7% of what it did at liftoff.
7.
ULA's high-performance Centaur, with its RL-10 engine, ignites, powering the upper stage and spacecraft into a circular low Earth orbit. The first burn comes to an end with engine shutdown, followed by Centaur orienting into the proper position to release Amazon's Project Kuiper satellites to begin building their low Earth orbit satellite broadband network.
Interesting. We also have a video from Project Kuiper themselves. Let's see what they're up to.
It all starts with a countdown. But a countdown to what exactly? 6 years ago, we took on a journey to build the most advanced and the most modern communication system in the world.
There are almost 3 billion people that don't have high-speed connectivity.
Imagine if they had the ability to be connected just like you and I do, what they could do, what contributions they could make.
This mission is ambitious for a truly worthy cause. It's going to impact communities that cannot be reached with fiber traditional communications. The solution really has to be from space.
You can think of Project Kuiper as a 3-part system: the satellite constellation, the customer terminal, and just as critically, the ground network and software that ultimately deliver connectivity. We have set out to design the most advanced satellite network ever built, and we have created the whole thing in-house at Amazon. You need just about every technology area to contribute to build the satellite: the propulsion system, the solar arrays, the silicon, the phaser antennas, the optical inter-satellite links.
The team has to be innovative, agile, resilient as we're moving very, very fast. Building, testing, developing in-house has been an extraordinary ingredient.
When we first proposed Project Kuiper internally, one of the first questions was, can you produce an affordable customer terminal? We knew that was going to be the linchpin of our system.
The big breakthrough for us was combining transmit and receive antennas into a single aperture. No one had ever done this in the Ka-band. That let us pack a ton of performance into a really compact, really low-cost design. We're going to build tens of millions of these antennas, and we are well on our way. The design is done. We're now in the factory manufacturing it.
We talk about the satellites and constellation, but Kuiper is a satellite constellation being operated as a network across hundreds of ground gateway terminals.
Our ground network is spread out all over the world, and each site connects back to AWS. We already have a bunch of these sites installed everywhere from Australia to Germany, and more of them are coming online every month.
There's a big difference between launching 2 satellites and launching 3,000 satellites.
The past couple of years, my team has really been focused on how to achieve scale. Our own dedicated payload processing facility gives us the ability to control our own destiny. We've got the capacity to integrate up to 5 satellites per day and launch 3 simultaneous campaigns. Heavy lift rockets have higher performance, so we can take more satellites to orbit on any given launch. All of our heavy lift launch partners have had a successful first flight, so that's been a pretty exciting thing for us to see because we made those investments years in advance.
All of the pieces have come together to support that first launch, and the next one, and the one after that. It might not all go perfectly, but we have an incredible commitment to this project and an incredible team committed to its mission. All roads lead here, a countdown to launch. And with more than 80 missions planned, we're just getting started.
It's very interesting to me. Like, I've noticed this a lot. I've noticed this with Blue and with, you know, Amazon in general. If they're not the first people to do it, they'll say it in a slightly different way, right? Like, we're the first people to put the, you know, make a modular terminal that operates in the Ka band. All right. But the antenna is a phased array that looks exactly the same. Right? Like, I'm not trying to hate. It's just, it's very interesting to me how that comes off kind of, all right. No, they are not the first to operate in the Ka-Ku band. Their antennas are, which is, all right. They're terminals, guys. They're the terminal IVO. I know that's. Yeah. Anyway, they need you. They need to pretend they are saving the world. Stop it. You're there to make money. Yeah, Wisp. I don't know, dude. Either way, you know, as spaceflight fans, we get to see a lot more rocket launches, so I'm kind of cool. I really wish them all the best, and it looks like they are cooking, just on a side note. They're really doing some freaking work, man. This rocket is actually going to launch on Wednesday at 7 p.m., so just about 48 hours from now. Honestly, don't really see the benefits of Kuiper over Starlink. I don't really see it outlasting Starlink once Starship is operational. I disagree. I disagree, Maddie. I think there is... I think there... Okay, let me put it to you like this. Tech bros that watch the stream. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. If I'm not looking at this way, if I'm not looking at it the right way, you let me know. I really don't think there's an upper level of bandwidth that the human race needs. There's no upper level. This is not looking at it like, oh, this is just a Starlink competitor. Starlink's going to put them out of business. I don't think that's the right way to look at this, because when has anybody ever said, oh yeah, I need less connectivity. Yeah, let's do less connectivity. That's never happened, and it never will. Right? I don't think that it's so much like about Starlink competing with Project Kuiper. I think this is very much a way for Amazon to leverage connectivity for Amazon Web Services. Okay, so what does that mean? So Amazon has server rooms that are just computers, Amazon Web Services. It's an Internet of Things, right? You could do whatever. It's just a big server. You use it for whatever. You use it for storage. You could use it for processing power. You use it for whatever you want, right? If Amazon has more ways to connect people, if they find more ways for people to connect to their web services, they make more money. Does that make sense? It's not necessarily about competing with Starlink, even though it kind of does, right? It's about connectivity. The more people get connected to Amazon as a entity or their web services or their website or whatever, the more money they're going to make. There is no upper level for that demand. Does that make sense? And to be honest, doesn't Amazon own like a third of the internet trunks already? Yeah. Would you consider getting either Starlink or Kuiper? I got a fiber optic ground connection. I'm good. Lots of folks use Amazon Web Services and they don't even realize it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's no... Does that make sense, dudes? And this is why I'm kind of cheering them on. I just wish they weren't be like, oh yeah, we're the first ones to do it. Dude, you're competing with Starlink because there is no upper level of bandwidth. Nobody has ever said, I want less connectivity. That's what I need. No. It makes sense. It's more on the side of connecting to Amazon Web Services more than just connecting straight to the internet. Yeah, exactly. What are the odds that the internet everywhere service like Starlink is not even the majority of Kuiper's use given AWS stuff? That's what I'm saying, NG. I once theorized that Blue Origin wants to off-world Amazon Web Services, and no, I got a stern talking to by a couple of people about that a little bit later. No, that's not what's going on. They want to connect their data centers together better. That's really what Project Kuiper is, and offering it as a internet connectivity service on top of that is like double dipping. Ted Kaczynski, checkmate. He would have gone insane like 6 times over by now. Fanta. Why off-world the internet to aliens? Okay, next question. There is sort of an upper level right now, being all of the big infrastructure for connectivity is heavily limited by existing hardware and data centers, etc., etc. Communication isn't the problem. The way of communicating is the upper level is light. We're already leveraging fiber optic, but remember the dude who could transfer more data through standard fiber optic than before. This is the upper level. I think what Amazon is trying to do is utilize a Starlink-like way of communicating. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Amazon buys a few Starship launches for Kuiper later on. Yeah, they already got Falcon 9s. Yeah, yep. I'm assuming... Yeah, I mean, it's a good point, Archie. I'm assuming Starlink with Starship won't be really hard to beat due to the amount of data V3 sats can transfer. Yeah, maybe. But will they be able to undercut Starlink in cost and capability? If not, why would someone use Kuiper? They don't have to, Bill. They don't have to. They don't have to, because it's about connecting the data centers together. It's connectivity. Connectivity is what they're looking for here. That's why. Also, having a Kuiper connection allows Amazon to put server farms and data centers in cold locations that are most cost-effective without having to lay thousands of miles of fiber. So, road trip with my Starlink and a Project Kuiper, like I said, it's good for us, man. Amazon is leveraging the advantage of having an orbital broadband network that SpaceX can't. Interesting. What do you mean SpaceX can't, Cirrus? What does that mean exactly? Is there something that I'm missing here? I mean, once again, dude, I don't know tech. I don't know tech and software. That's you guys know that. Seriously, you know that way better than I do. You work in tech, dude. Like, you know that better than you work in software. I ain't no software engineer. Let me know. What you said, making Amazon Web Services that much better. Boom. It's to connect the data centers together. All right, cool. All right. Just want to make sure I'm on the same page there. Right? Like, I don't think they need to compete with Starlink. It's like, and you said it right. They want a Starlink-like connection. Something, they saw that technology, right? Oh, we could use this to make our connectivity better, right? We could connect all of our data centers. We put our data centers wherever we want. We could put them in a cold environment, like what Tessa said, right? That's it. That's what it is. Interesting. Now, Cirrus, here's this is where my mind went. Okay, so this is very strange. I'm not trying to grind an axe here or prove a point, right? So, if Amazon is going to connect all their data centers together to try and do what SpaceX can't, right? Like you said. Okay, so I guess my question back would be, and then once again, this is just an inquisitive mind. I'm just wondering, like, why wouldn't SpaceX utilize this exact same technology to link like superclusters together? Right? Why wouldn't they start doing this? Right? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Like, oh, if Amazon figured it out, and that's awesome, but do we really think SpaceX didn't think of this? It's an honest question. Like, this isn't heavy-handed. I'm just wondering. Right? And also, Amazon can clearly make money off of this. They said it themselves. Seriously, it's another good point. 3 billion people don't have a high-speed internet connection. If you get half of those, not even half, a quarter of those, 3 billion people, and give them a connection, you're going to make billions of dollars. SpaceX doesn't host websites or web services. It's not a part of their setup. I understand that it's not a part of their setup. Could it be a part of their setup is kind of what I'm asking. How do we know that like SpaceX doesn't use Starlink to link like AI superclusters together? I think it would be more of a distraction to the Mars mission. Fair. Fair. Could it be because SpaceX doesn't own parts of the internet versus Amazon? Yeah, maybe. But is that a market? Cirrus, no, but it could be, right? Am I thinking about that correctly? It could be, right? Whoever wins the AI war is going to money a lot. Amazon Web Services powers so much of the internet, and that's their moneymaker. Yeah, exactly. So they're not even competing with Starlink, right? Dude, they're not. It's not about that. Yeah, it's not their focus right now. They could build cars too. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, interesting. You do not need 3,000 satellites to connect data service centers. It is to connect with customers directly. Amazon TV could run through all the satellites, and Amazon charges for that. Hello, EJ from Twitch. Oh, God, Dave, don't remind me of that. So what did you say, Dark Room? You do not need 3,000 satellites to connect data services. So, yeah, Amazon is using this as a means to leverage their pre-existing technologies to reach more people. And they obviously see sinking billions of dollars into it as a viable strategy, right? Or a viable thing. And I'm not even going to sit here and pretend like it's not. Of course it is. Interesting. Overall, I do like how you're thinking about it. Kuiper doesn't need to compete with Starlink to become massively profitable, successful, in that Amazon is AWS, which, who knows, they could add some sort of space compute services. Yeah, Cirrus, yeah, dude, I mean, yeah, of course. That seems like, dude, if it's one thing that I've noticed about Jeff, like, in how Amazon operates, I mean, Jeff doesn't run Amazon anymore, right? Like, if it's one thing I notice about how Amazon, like, their modus operandi is they go after infrastructure. Infrastructure is important, right? They go after, like, it's not about directly competing with other people. Like, it's going after, like, the supply chain for the other guy, right? Like, that's what they do. Right? I'll give you an example. Like, Amazon was incessant about setting up the distribution network to get you, a plunger to your door in 6 hours, right? That logistics and distribution system and network that they set up is so ridiculously good right? There is no point in you going to the store, right? Amazon is not like directly competing with a brick and mortar. I mean, they kind of are, but the convenience of that service is going to, you will buy an inferior plunger if you don't have to just drive all the way to the damn store. You could click on it, it'll be on your house at the end of the day, right? You will buy a crappier plunger if that's the case than going to a plumbing store and getting a good plunger, right? Do you see what I'm talking about? Amazon does that. That's how they roll. It's not a bad strategy, to be honest. Like, it's not a bad way of doing things. So like, they're not trying to compete with Starlink. What does Starlink use? Starlink uses the internet. Their satellites are connectivity for the web services that go through Starlink. There's a huge opportunity for profit there if you make something that take the bandwidth away from from Starlink inadvertently, right? And work on your own connectivity on your own end. It's not a direct competitor inadvertently because it's connecting web services together. I mean, it makes sense. It's a smart move. Like, credit where credit is due. That's really smart. That's a good way to do that. You know? I already read your thoughts, Flagon. What, do you have more thoughts? Server farm in space, when? Not a good idea. Space data centers would be OP because they require the tonnage, which is... But they require... No, they are not OP. You'd have to worry about bit flips. You'd have to rad harden your data center. I think people are underestimating, too, that they could be vying to become the next Tidris, except for commercial use. Possibility. I don't think that that's necessarily the case. You're not going to get good tracking data and relay services with a low Earth orbit proliferated constellation. But, also, maybe... Noobzor, 71 months. Thanks, man. I just don't know how it would be used in a data center environment, even if it's strictly for a data center environment. In my 100 gigabit connections, around 10K a month in most of the data centers, the cost is negligible for us, but the key for us is latency losses. Database syncs worldwide. Even with fiber connections the whole way, we're looking at around 300 to 600 MS. I was about to say meters a second. Fist is nice. The whole trip from India to San Francisco, their radio frequencies would have to beat that in order to be viable for data centers. Well, they said they're operating in KAKU for their terminals, which means they're using ridiculously high frequency. I mean, that might be what you're... No, that's not exactly what you're talking about, is it? Anyway, I wonder if this leads to Microsoft and Google making their own mega constellations. Maybe. Since they're Amazon's true competitors with web services. Yeah, interesting. Google works with SpaceX, if I'm remembering right. Google's a huge investor into Starlink and SpaceX, for what it's worth. Yeah, not a lot of people know that. So Google's already hedging their bets. I don't know about Microsoft. I mean, Soft. The latency via going by Kuiper will be better than going via fiber. Fiber is 2/3 the speed of light. K-band is full lights. Yeah, there you go. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, guys, either way, from a space news standpoint, we get a lot more launches, and what this kind of inadvertently does is,
Oh, this is space. I'm in space.
You just gifted a sub to Microsuck. All right, awesome. That's great. Keep on sucking. Wait, no, no, satellite constellation. No, what this inadvertently does for us is, we get a lot more rocket launches, and this kind of solidifies the low Earth orbit market and launch providers. This brings the cost down, which will inadvertently open up markets in the moon, because if it's easier to get to Leo, it's easier to get to the moon, it's easier to get to Mars, etc., etc. SpaceX is working on that, you know. Not necessarily. If the tonnage gets high enough, you won't need to harden components. Think that company that plans to make cheap sats that are heavy, thus don't require rad hardening. Every software engineer I know, Seakraken, says the exact opposite of what you're saying. So, I mean, I don't know. Could work. I don't think that's what they're doing, but it could work, I guess. What it inadvertently does, EJ, is pisses off the eco-wackos that don't know what they're talking about. Dude, I could fart in public and piss off an eco-wacko one of these days, John. Who cares? Who cares? Whatever. And to be 100% clear, it's not that we shouldn't care about our environment. Okay? Everyone should care about the environment. Nobody wants to be guilt-tripped about caring about the environment nowadays. Which is fair. But also, we shouldn't screw this planet up too much. Too much. EJ rolls coal out of his butt, confirmed. Yep. I just had a little bit of a thought. You know how a mesh of metal can mess with transceiver stuff? Kuiper is above or below Starlink. It's above it by about 200 kilometers. Except when you tow the boat out of the environment. Yep. Anyway. Very interesting stuff. So that launch, once again, is going to be on Wednesday. Let's keep going with the news. Let's roll with the news. U.S. Space Force, so this is coming from Space Systems Command. Space Force Command announced accelerated GPS-3 mission to enhance warfighter capabilities. El Segundo, California, and Colorado Springs, Colorado. Another national security space launch mission will deliver a global positioning Mark III space vehicle to orbit on a rapid response schedule, demonstrating a continued level of responsiveness by Space Systems Command and Space Operations Command. U.S. Space Forces, Space Systems Command, and Space Operations Command announced the expected launch of National Security Space Launch GPS 3-7 mission, Space Vehicle 08, SV-08, with SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket from Space Launch Complex 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, no earlier than the end of May 2025. Following the successful Rapid Response Trailblazer launch in December of 2024, the two field commands are executing another accelerated mission. The accelerated mission involves a complex integration of efforts across multiple Space Force organizations to retrieve a global positioning system GPS-3 satellite from storage and expedite integration with a launch vehicle and prepare it for launch on an accelerated timeline. The GPS-3 satellite, equipped with M-code technology, provides the warfighter with a capability that is 3 times more accurate and 8 times more resistant to jamming. This effort ensures rapid delivery of modernized precision navigation and timing (PNT) capabilities to the Joint Force. Ah, yes. The Joint Force. I said Joint Force, and some people went, huh? What? What kind of force? That's all the armed forces. Okay. This mission builds on lessons learned from the previous RRT and showcases the Space Force's ability to significantly reduce launch preparedness timelines. Typically, launch preparation takes up to 24 months. However, in this case, the Space Force is demonstrating its ability to complete the process within 3 months. This launch executes a vehicle launch trade of the GPS 3-7 mission from Vulcan to a Falcon 9 rocket and swaps a later GPS 3F-1 mission from Falcon Heavy to Vulcan, showcasing our ability to launch in 3 months compared to the typical 24 months, said Colonel Jim Horn, senior material leader on the launch execution for AATS. It highlights another instance of the Space Force's ability to complete high-priority launches on a rapid timescale, which demonstrates the capability to respond to emergent constellation needs as rapidly as the space vehicle readiness allows. SVA-08 was scheduled to fly on Vulcan, and they swapped from Falcon Heavy to another Vulcan. Yeah. Interesting. Cool. All right, so they swap. They want to try to... Basically, that whole thing says in plain English, if you want a paragraph explaining all of that jargon, the Air Force, or the Space Force, is moving a GPS-3 satellite from a Vulcan launch to a Falcon launch to demonstrate that they can do it fast. And then it traded a Vulcan launch for... Or traded a Falcon Heavy launch for a Vulcan launch down the road. They're trying to show that they can do it quickly. That's the big like thing here. What is this? A satellite for ants? Can they go the other way quickly, though? I think that's probably what that second trade is about, David, if I had to guess. If you're doing space news afterwards, today we kind of had a meeting with the Orion ESM leadership, and I got to chat with some engineers working on the heat shield, and I got to say, they did convince me. If you want to, I can share what they told me. It's known info. Regarding what? The adjusted trajectory, Baron, or the Artemis 3 redesign? A satellite for people who can't read good and want to learn how to do other things good as well. The problems they found with the heat shield after Artemis 1. Alright, well, we're waiting. Died in a freak RP-1 gasoline accident. What is this, a satellite for ants? How can people fit inside the satellite if it's a 1U CubeSat? Satellite needs to be at least 3 times as big. Viasat, probably. That was a little bit of an inside joke. If you got it, well, good for you. Because they want bigger satellites. Never mind. Never mind. Baron, type it out. I'm waiting. Unironically, every bus provider in the last 5 years. Right, Ivo? Hey, it's good to see you again, man. Where have you been? What have you been up to? Hey, girl! Hey, girl, what are you up to? Another slot filled in my bingo card. Working but been good? Right on, man. Good to know. Between jobs at the moment. I've been getting that a lot, Ivo. On stream. All good, man. You'll find another one. Try streaming. If you hate yourself. That got real fast. Alright, anyway. Hey, Bedojo, what's going on? Alright, hey, he wants to play Launch the Falcon 9. Aw, sweet, what do I win? Another Falcon 9! Speaking of that, Starlink 1111 launches in 20 minutes. we got a Falcon 9 launching in about 20 minutes, yeah. The root cause was determined to be material in the middle layers of the avcoat that had air pockets form after a long-term period of heating. This long-term heating was caused by the skip re-entry on Artemis 1. Extensive tests by the safety, heat shield, and systems teams determined that the existing heat shield formulation could be used within safety margins by doing a direct re-entry. Why do the skip in the first place? Why not just do Apollo? I don't understand. Direct re-entry gets hotter at peak than skip re-entry, but lasts for a much shorter time. Yep. Testing showed that the time duration was the trigger of the air pockets forming. So a fast and hot re-entry is the preferred method to avoid any issue on Artemis 2. I've heard the safety margin got to like 99 to 100% of the safety margin, whereas the expected safety margin was 115. So just keep in mind that while this was analogous, we were still at 100% safety margin, meaning nowhere near close to losing the vehicle, even under skip extended heat re-entry. Yeah, that's nothing I didn't know, Baron. What I'm trying to tell you is that yeah, okay. you're expecting 115. You're expecting, you got 100% safety margin out of 115 total. You were expecting 20, and you didn't get it. That's a heck of a misstep. That kind of stuff can't allow that. No good. That's great, but also, why aren't we just doing the Apollo reentry? We know that works. Why even try this complicated skip maneuver in the first place? Twidget, 49-month resub. Thank you very much. The only remaining problem they have is that the Artemis 2 redesign. They're trying to find a way to validate it. You know what would be a good way to do that? Launch it with nobody on board. The Artemis 3 redesign. You know what would be a good way to test that? Launch it. Just saying. That'd probably be a good way to do that. With nobody on board. Yeah, the problem is we don't have any ICPSs. We don't have enough upper stages to do that. You're going to have to find another way. Now watch this launch. We will not rest until we put a stop to these heat shield cracks. Now watch this launch. Nothing that I've heard of, Lava. Nova, don't do that in here. No. No. I will not allow Minecraft movie brain rot in this stream. That's not happening. All right. So this is coming from Talk of Titusville. Your success is our mission. Launch Credit Union. All right. NASA and Boeing are advancing the certification process for Boeing's commercial space transport 100 Starliner spacecraft following its crew flight test to the International Space Station. Joint teams are addressing in-flight anomalies and planning the propulsion system test in preparation for Starliner's upcoming missions. Chow's Country Buffet, baby. All right. Starliner's flights have been issue filled. Yeah. Kenny B. Minecraft stuff can't be any worse. Minecraft stuff can't be any worse than what we already deal with. You sure about that? You sure about that? Are you sure about that? You sure about that? See what I did there, Mutter? See what I did? I did the thing. Anyway. Here we go. Since the uncrewed Starliner capsules returned from the ISS, NASA and Boeing have analyzed post-flight data. Over 70% of flight observation and in-flight anomalies have been addressed at the program-level control boards. Major in-flight propulsion system anomalies are expected to remain under review into 2025, pending outcomes of ground testing and potential system. I haven't watched Cleater, Tessa. I didn't have time this weekend, dude. I don't know what that means, but now I think I know what that means, so you may have just spoiled an episode for me. So, appreciate that one. The agencies are finalizing the scope and timelines for propulsion system test campaigns, and analysis is scheduled for spring and summer. Testing at White Sands Test Facility in New Mexico will include integrated firing of key Starliner thrusters within a single service module doghouse. Nice, RB. You stay classy, buddy. This aims to validate thermal models and inform potential propulsion and spacecraft thermal protection system upgrades. Stevie. That's a great picture of Steve Stitch. He looks like, dude, he looks so done in that picture. That's really funny. He's like, I don't like anything anymore. No. Operational solutions under consideration involve adding thermal barriers within the doghouse to better regulate temperatures and modifying thruster pulse profiles in flight to prevent overheating. Concurrently, teams are testing new helium system seal options to mitigate the risk of future further leaks. The picture was probably right after a burger. He just got asked 7 questions when clearly instructed to ask 1. Yeah, he's just sitting there going, Would a coolant system help with the thrusters? Probably outdoors, but that's a lot more mass, dude, putting a coolant loop in there like that. Steve Stitch, manager of NASA's Commercial Crew Program, commented on the testing schedule. Once we get through these planned test campaigns, we will have a better idea of when we can go fly the next Boeing flight. He added, We'll continue to work through certification towards the end of this year and then go figure out where Starliner fits best in the schedule for the International Space Station and its crew and cargo missions. It is likely to be in the time frame of late this calendar year or early next year for the Starliner flight. Mission managers are planning for the next Starliner flight to be a crew-capable post-certification mission. However, NASA retains the flexibility to fly only cargo depending on the agency's needs. Yeah, guys, this isn't anything we didn't know. One person that will not be a part of the next Starliner flight is Boeing CFT backup astronaut Mike Fink. He had been assigned to Crew 11 aboard a Crew Dragon. See that sentence right there? That one. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. Yeah, Starliner to be a crew-capable post-certification mission. So, in order to achieve a human rating certification, you have to demonstrate end-to-end capabilities. Okay, end-to-end capabilities. In this particular case, I'll use Dragon as the example. DM2 was their certification mission. Okay, DM2, Bob and Doug launched. They went up to the space station for a week. They came back down. They are, as you can tell by the mission, they are in fact not dead. They're still alive. As of this video on April 7th, 2025. I really hope they live long, healthy, and fruitful lives because Bob and Doug are awesome. Anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is that they got their certification. Boeing has not done that, and they're looking for that same certification. I don't what does crew-capable post-certification mission mean? What the hell is that? No, I'm not buying it. I don't buy this. I don't buy this. This is bullcrap. No. You have to, it has to be to the same standards as Dragon. I'm sorry. It has to. I don't really give a frick what you guys think. Like, not you guys. Like, what is this? Crew K? What kind of cope is this? And don't get me wrong. I understand the program control boards and the testing and all. I get it. I get what's going on here. I get it. I don't believe in being lenient on a certification for a spacecraft that's going to carry people on it. I don't think that's right. I think that is rewarding mediocrity. And don't get me wrong, I'm not one of these like, oh, the meritocracy. Dude, it has to be that way with spaceflight or somebody gets hurt. You have to be perfect. It has to be perfect. So if you do not want to be perfect, get the frick out. Leave. Go somewhere else. Like, this, like, what? I don't like that at all. I hate it. I hate it a lot. This is the hardest cope I've ever seen. I think I hate this more than Orion. Now, Wounded, it has nothing to do with that. It has nothing. That's not what I'm talking about, dude. Like, I wanted to be sure to make the distinction here, but I apparently didn't make it enough. Like, dude, I don't give a frick who's working on the spacecraft. I don't care who it is. Like, I'm sure everybody on the Starliner program is there to do a good job. I'm positive of this. But why? Why would anybody at NASA or... Okay, let me put it this way. Why would anybody at NASA be okay with this? No. No, absolutely not. You want redundant dissimilar architecture. Well, guess what? Crew-capable post-certification mission, you certify the capsule for end-to-end human spaceflight without flying people on it. That's not redundant dissimilar architecture because the capsules weren't judged by the same standards. So you don't have redundant dissimilar architecture now, do you? The whole point of Commercial Crew was to have two ways to get to the space station. If your criteria for certification happens differently for each one of those capsules, it is not redundant and dissimilar. Well, it is dissimilar, but it's not redundant. No. Nope. And once again, if you work in the industry, you think I'm a putz, you think I'm wrong, tell me. Everything that I've learned from learning about systems engineering, learning about spacecraft design, learning about certifications for all this stuff, everything that I've learned, and this is, keep in mind, I ask people out in the industry about how all this stuff works. I'm not looking for insider information. I want to know how the process works, right? Everything that everyone has told me ever about how all this works, that works in the industry, says that that's not a good idea. Why does NASA favor Boeing like this? I don't know, Erudite. I don't understand what's going on here. Is Boeing putting pressure on them? Why are they okay with this? I don't think it's anything like that. I think that... I don't know. I don't know why NASA would be in this position. I'd be curious to ask Steve Stitch this question. Like, dude... You're not judging your capsules by the same criteria. You could say you're judging by the same criteria, but not the same mission. You're using different missions for the same certification. Like, I'm sorry, that's not redundant. That is just dissimilar architecture. And that defeats the whole point of this program. If you don't certify Starliner to do the exact same thing in the exact same circumstances as Dragon, you don't have redundant architecture. Is that not like a thing? Like, do we not care about this anymore? Like, maybe NASA's under schedule pressure maybe Boeing's under schedule pressure to get the stupid thing to fly before the ISS goes the way of the dodo. I don't know. I don't really understand why you'd be okay with this. That really makes no sense to me. Tinfoil hat here. Do you think it could have something to do with Boeing military contracts and how a failure in Starliner might hurt some of their military contracts? Lava, maybe. I would like to think that NASA's better than that. It's possible, but I don't think so. I would very much be wondering what your rationale is behind doing a crew behind certifying this capsule to fly people on board without actually flying people on board. Like, am I stupid? Like, did I miss something here? I don't know, man. I don't... Yeah, Hunster, possible. See last. SpaceX is online. Oh. Yeah, I know. I have it up, dude. It's in my pile of tabs. There it is. I got it. Thank you, W. Anyway, We got the Starlink 1111 mission. Yeah, that's very strange to me. I don't really understand why that's a thing. But we're going to switch gears here real quick to the Starlink 11-11 coverage, and then we'll get back to more space news on the other end. Yeah, Pete, that... I don't want to admit that that might be what's going on, because that sets a really awful precedent. This might have been okay to give them this leniency had OFT1 not been a catastrophic failure, OFT2 not being a only being a partial success,
Discovery,
and CFT1 not being a colossal screw up. Not with Starliner, but in the industry. Yeah. Oh, beautiful view here in Vandenberg.
Falcon 9 tanks are pressing for strong back retract.
T-Dave, 73-month resub. STS-73, 73rd Space Shuttle mission overall. During this mission, Columbia carried Space Lab in its payload bay, hosting the United States Microgravity Laboratory 2, USML-2. The more you know. Thanks, T-Dave. These are...
Starback retract has started.
So, what we're tuning into here, guys, real quick, is the Starlink Group 11-11. I actually don't... Next spaceflight actually says it doesn't know what first stage this is. So there is a first stage somewhere out there that is launching 27 Starlink V2 minis from low Earth orbit. This is going out of Vandenberg, Slick 4E at Vandenberg. This is SpaceX's 40th mission of 2025 and the 72nd orbital launch attempt from anyone from this year. Yeah, you could tell it's Vandenberg because of the way it is. So somewhere out there, probably in this area right here, is the rocket. So to be clear, are they saying that Starliner is technically already crew certified? They're aiming for a post-flight crew certification after CFT1. Oh yeah, we should run ads so people don't get an ad break during the launch. So I'm going to run them now. I'll see you on the other side. Believe me, there's nothing to see in the next 3 minutes. I have them, Dark Rue, on Space News. We'll show more of them in a second. Vandenberg used Mind Fog. It's super effective. SpaceX now says 1091, Flight 1. Is this fog or rain? It's fog. And it looks like it's also raining. Does the entire base get foggy like this, or just the pad area? Most of Southern California. This happens to most of Southern California along the coast, Bill. So this is the marine layer. It basically just, you get a lot of condensation in the mornings. And then that all burns off by probably 10, 11 o'clock because of the sun. The marine layer happens where basically on the shore. In the shore, you get a lot of fog. I forget the exact atmospheric phenomenon that causes this, but yeah, it usually burns off by the end of the day. But out there in California right now, we're T-minus 2 minutes. Out there in California, it's 4 o'clock, so that tells me that this is a rainstorm. This is springtime rain. Do you think SpaceX will meet their target of a launch out of Florida for Starship this year? I have some news for you on the other side of this launch, Vargon. What are we looking at, weather guy? What's the weather looking like out there? And now to weather guy. Weather guy with the weather. It's gonna rain. Thanks, weather guy. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's rain. Yep, that's a rainstorm. What's interesting is that it's sunny down on the coast. This is Earth Radio, and here's
Falcon 9 is in startup.
human music. Okay, Falcon's in startup. Somewhere out there, there's a rocket. We're T-minus 1 minute. Weather guy ran out of time.
for launch.
Okay, LD reports go.
Go at throttle up.
Barack, 72-month resub. 72 months? That's almost 1 year.
T-minus 30 seconds.
T-minus 30 seconds and counting. All right, yeah. Where are the soggy bottom boys? Dude, oh brother, where art thou reference? Good for you.
T-minus 15 seconds.
All right, 15. Let's lock in. We are locked in.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Sound suppression water
5,
system should turn on,
4,
even though nature is
3,
providing it today.
2, 1.
Ignition.
Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9. Go SpaceX, go Starlink.
Okay, Starlink 1111 is in the air. Somewhere over there.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
Got a good pitch over. So
Payload propulsion is nominal.
good call for stage 1 propulsion. The vehicle is executing a pitch kick right now, where it basically turns to the right direction that it's going to fly in and then starts to turn over going that way. Because in order to get into orbit, you got to be going fast relative to the surface, right? To orbit around, you got to be going parallel to the surface. So there she is. She's rolling right there.
Power and telemetry nominal.
Good call for power and telemetry there. Yeah, those clouds are really low lying there.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Should get a call for maximum dynamic pressure here.
Max Q.
Little intermittent signal right there. That signal is breaking up pretty hard. I wonder what's going on there. Okay, looking at T plus 2 minutes into the flight. Everything looks pretty good here. You can see the coast over there. No, it is not, guys, that's the cast. It's not X. Okay, Falcon 9 aligning to prograde velocity in preparation for main engine cutoff and staging here. That would be my guess, spoiled, but let's see.
Main engine cutoff.
Stage separation confirmed.
That is indeed a brand new Falcon 9 first stage. Yeah, guys, that's
MVAC ignition.
It would be 1092. That is a brand new first stage. See how clean it was? I mean, it ain't clean no more because the second stage engine fired into the inner stage, but... No, they shouldn't, weather guy. Stand by for fairing separation. Watch, it's gonna boop. I said it's gonna
Fairing
boop.
separation confirmed.
Boop. There we go. So that's the aerodynamic shell that protects the satellites. When the rocket gets high enough, it gets out of the atmosphere and you don't need the aerodynamic shell anymore. First stage is coasting. They are going to land it. It is going to attempt a drone ship, a downrange landing on Of Course I Still Love You. Where's the tarp cam? We demand tarp cam. Boop, boop, dang you. Yes. I have a joke for you. What is a skeleton's favorite snack? Boop, god dang you. Here's Santa Barbara over there. Beautiful, beautiful part of the country. Lompok's up there in the clouds. You got the mountains, there's Santa Barbara. Channel Islands right there. Actually, you can see some of them there. There is... So, Santa Monica, Huntington Beach, Palos Verdes, Long Beach. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Careful, EJ. Don't burn your finger on the engine bell. It's a little hot. It's a little hot, Jacka. Just a little bit. What was that thing floating? Solid nitrogen. Ribs! Spare ribs! Okay. Yep. Too bright, you couldn't see it? Yeah, Kevin, you're going to get backlit by the sun at sunset. There's no way you're seeing this thing. But yeah, there's Los Angeles right there. Go down all the way down the coast. There's the San Onofre, or the old San Onofre power plant. Can't really see it, but you can see the mountain range that it's next to. Right there. There's Pendleton. So there's Encinitas and Oceanside. The From 2 Dragon was recovered right where my mouse cursor is, which is pretty cool. And then you could see Coronado Bay and San Diego. On the first stage view over here, in preparation for the supersonic retropropulsion, you can see Baja California right there. There's Coronado, and of course they cut the camera right when I want to go look at it. You can see Tijuana and the Baja California Peninsula. Should be coming up on the entry burn here on the first stage. Yeah, I know, Panta. It's pretty good. Okay, grid fins are locked in. You see that? Should get supersonic retropropulsion. The entry burn that's slowing down Falcon 9's first stage, but also protecting it from re-entry heating. That's right. Falcon 9 fires its engines to push the plasma that accumulates from re-entry from aerodynamic compression and entry heating. The engines push the gases coming out of the engine actually pushes it away.
Stage 1 entry burn shut down.
See how the gas is coming out looks like a heat shield? Yeah, it's not a coincidence. It's pretty freaking cool. First supersonic retropropulsion for that booster. Where does the Falcon 9 go? That's right, it goes on the square ship. It's Baja California Peninsula right there.
STS has safed.
Go down to Cabo. Yeah? Yeah? Who's with me? Go see Sammy down there. See Sammy Hagar. Be pretty sweet. You fell for it. What? To fill out your stupid bingo card? Yeah, I guess you got me.
Discovery.
Hey, Rams, 18-month resub. Okay. Grid fins.
Stage 1 transonic.
Getting into the lower parts of the atmosphere, you really see the aerodynamic perturbations on the grid fins. They move around a lot. There's Baja California Sur right there. Pretty cool. I'm from the north parts of San Diego. It's always too cloudy to see a rocket launch. Now inland, I get to enjoy these unexploded fireworks. Oh, all right, that's good.
Stage 1 landing.
There we go. Drone ship is under the left side grid fin. Grid fin's now steering this thing over the drone ship. Well, the single engine is slowing
Stage 2 and terminal guidance.
it down. Once it gets to the point where the grid fins are no longer aerodynamically effective, they're running on thrust vector control power. Landing legs have deployed on TVC only, and a little bit of wind today, but we got a nice...
Stage 1 landing confirmed.
Little bumpy, but a nice touchdown on the drone ship. First flight for 1091. That's kind of a rarity nowadays, seeing a Falcon 9 fly for the first time. Now, if they don't cut the cast, we need this number to get to 27308 or something. That would probably be a good number to get to.
MVAC shut down.
27332 should get a call for nominal orbit insertion. I said
nominal orbit insertion.
There you go. Laser Drifter, 46-month resub, just in time for the nice There you go. And as Falcon 9 moves away from the very, very southern tip of Baja California Sur, that's going to conclude Falcon 9, 11, the Starlink 11-11 coverage. I hope you guys enjoyed it. What was Blue Origin's supersonic retropropulsion? Exo-atmospheric deceleration burn is what they called it. 27,333. Shut up, pigeon. I don't take orbital velocity staging advice from birds. Get out of here. If you flew a Falcon Heavy from Slick 6 in Vandenberg and did a trajectory where you avoided populated areas, and if you're reusing it and have the core go for a drone ship, could you land the center core in the Gulf and then go to Brownsville port for port booster operations? No. 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 No, you couldn't. It's way too far away, dude. Look at that last 15 seconds of flight. That engine is violent. No wonder the astronauts are complaining. They're not complaining. It's fine. Do we know how many Gs the second stage experiences? Because M1D vacuums are pretty powerful for being second stage engines. 5 Gs sustained at the highest points, Lava, if I'm remembering right. But it stays more like around 4.5. Changed after you read the velocity. You changed. You've changed, man. You've changed. Here, look at this. Isn't that pretty? Quick question: how was Mercury and Gemini capsule? How were Mercury and Gemini capsule Germany? How was Mercury and Gemini capsules human rated? Outdoorsman, very carefully. The rating systems were completely different. In fact, the rating systems are the way that they are because of those programs. Fremonauts over Antarctica from New Mayer Station 3. That's from 2 flying over Antarctica Station. That's pretty cool, man. That's actually coming from Chun Wang, the commander of the From 2 mission. Pretty good. A little skirting Rule 8, but you don't need to show it if you don't want to. Is From still up there? No. Yarg, they came back down last week. They were only up there for about 3 days. They came back down and they actually self-egressed out of the capsule. They actually got out. It was part of one of the experiments that they were running to see like exertion on the human body after being in space for a couple of days. Actually, it was 3. They were there for 3. They landed in where that Starlink mission just flew over, Encinitas, California, which is just north of San Diego, about 24 miles offshore. First Pacific recovery. Yarg, they also jettisoned the trunk post-deorbit burn. Yeah, that's the first time we also saw that, which is actually pretty cool. Worth noting, his name would be pronounced Chun Wang. What about Chun-Li? What? All right, anyway. Sorry. That was a Street Fighter joke? Okay. So I'm actually from Encinitas, bro. That's cool, Transpason. It landed right near you. Not Wang. Wang? Do you think Chun Wang listens to Wang Chun? It's a good band. No? Alright, cool. Yeah? Yeah? Oh, hell yeah. Alright, cool. Sweet. It's a great band. Just saying. I had to move. I hate everything. That's good, Transpason. Alright. Okay. So what was your thing here? What did you link, Baron? So this is coming from Joey Roulette. The president's NASA administrator nominee, Jared Isaacman, has assured lawmakers in recent weeks that returning astronauts to the moon would remain the agency's main strategy, quelling concerns about a refocus on Mars, per 3 sources familiar with the talks. Raid from Laglander. Cool, thank you. What's up, Laglander? How are you? Yeah, guys. Dude? Look, said this right. Remember what I think about this. The integrated plan. I think there is every intention of accelerating the Artemis program. I also think there's very much an intention of accelerating our Mars exploration program too. If I'm looking at this correctly, I think we might end up doing both of those things, which I'm kind of okay with, and everything here is kind of suggesting this. Yeah. I am totally fine with this. More on Orange Rocket potentially. Yeah. Dude. Good. Please. Also capitalize moon.
Discovery, go at throttle up.
Not Repairy. I miss Encinitas. San Diego's beautiful, man. It is a beautiful area. Dude, yeah. Southern California's great. Like, I don't know if you guys ever been up to Lompoc. You make that drive up PCH to 101 through Lompoc. It is a very pretty part of the country. Yeah. There's a lot of people, though. Not when you get up to Lompoc. Lompoc's kind of not so much, but between LA and San Diego, there's a lot of people. A lot of people. I think the plan is that we're going to have NASA run the moon program and SpaceX run the Mars mission, 2 programs for the price of 1.5. Probably something like that, Trey, yeah. It's gorgeous, but the traffic. Yeah. Yep. I don't know, but I find this poster funny. What is that? That is... Okay, That's weird. All right. So, once again, Jared Isaacman's confirmation meeting with Senate confirmation meeting is on Wednesday at 10 a.m. I will be here for that. We are going to watch that. Please, I'm going to ask in advance, check your Rule 8 nonsense at the door. No political nonsense during that, please. Just listen. That's one thing I ask. Don't make us the bad guy. I'm there because I need to understand the context to see if my theory is correct. Then we will truly understand the power, EJ's power level. Anyway. Put chat into E-mode only mode? I don't know, maybe. 10 a.m. Eastern, David, yes. It's weird how you can... Okay, right. Brave of you? Yeah. I mean, Ruin, here's the thing. If people start getting out of line, I'll start timing them out. If they get out of line again, they get banned. Look, man, everybody here's been watching... Most of the people here have been watching the stream for a dang long time. You know better. You want to mess with the bull? Boom. You're going to get the horns, dog. Anyway, how long will it be? I don't know. I would never ban you. Yeah, serious. That's right. I would never ban you because I know you don't like being here. So, you know. Anyway, more space news. Oh, somebody timed you out. Did I see this footage? I'm trying to pivot. You really know how to... Hey, wake up. New Spectrum Rud. Just... Oh! Oh! Yeah. Yeah, that's broken. This is from the ESAR Spectrum launch last week. Yeah, it didn't go so well, but hey, whatever. They didn't we can now confirm, like for real, that it did not land on the pad, so that's good. The water one. Yeah, it usually does. It exploded? Okay, real question though, more serious. Could you use flint and steel for igniting a rocket engine? You've been playing too much Minecraft. It did not orb 3, that's right, yes. Flamey End was not indeed down, yes. That's a habit of... EJ, what's the EU space news? I haven't heard anything from them. Nothing. We haven't heard much. Not anything that I haven't showed here. It's all right. Come on, armrests. There we go. Anyway. Next bit of news. Just roused from hibernation, New Horizons starts 6 months of active operations that will include long-distance looks at the Kuiper Belt objects and close-up data gathering on the dust and radiation environment in this remote part of our sun's heliosphere. Nice! Pretty cool. New Horizons is back up and running. Good stuff. It has an RTG on it, so it's got plenty of power. That is a little nuke. A nuke that takes the radioactive decay, the heat decay from radioactive elements and converts it to electricity. So it's got power for a long time. Note there's no solar panels. Why was it offline? Starts 6 months of act, because it was coasting to the objects that it's going to look at. It's been coasting since New Horizons. I really feel like an idiot for not remembering this off the top of my head. It went by Pluto. That's what it did. It went by Pluto. Sorry, that was 10 years ago. You know, I probably should have known that. Pluto is right in the profile picture, you know. Did I see that right? Did that really do that 10 years ago? The spacecraft was launched in 2006 with the primary mission to perform a flyby study of the Pluto system in 2015. Oh, crap. That thing launched when I graduated from high school. That was not any time that was relatively recent. I don't know how to feel about that. That's weird, dude. You know, like, okay, just a quick space news poignant thought time. Poignant. You know what's weird as you get older? and younger people won't really understand this, I don't think. I mean, obviously, they don't have the perspective, right? You know, like, when I was younger, right? When I was a lot younger, like in high school, I read a lot of history. I like history. I'm a history nerd, right? You hear about stuff that happened 20 years ago. You hear about stuff that happened 40 years ago. I personally, when I was a lot younger, read about World War II history. I still do, but I used to as well. World War II, at that time, this was in the 2000s, was, 55 years ago, 60 years ago, right? Dude, you read about all that stuff, but you don't know what 60 years is. You don't know what that means. Your concept of time changes when you get older. 10 years ago to 10 years to 18-year-old me is half of your life. 10 years ago now to 40-year-old, almost 40-year-old EJ is a quarter of your life. Your perspective changes, right? Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Like, actually, like, I don't feel tardy. Right? Class dismissed. Like, I don't mind getting old, whatever. People get old, it happens. Like, it's just the concept of time, like, in my understanding of it. Like, dude, it launched 19 years ago. I know, I was there. Not at the launch, but I was alive. Like, I was graduating high school. I was it's not like I was like 4. You know what I mean? I know what that time scale is. I understand that scale because I lived it, right? It's very interesting to me to see, like, in perspective, when you get older, 20 years is not a long period of time. But when I was in high school, that was an insanely long period of time. That's a long time. No, it's not. It's really not. $1990 was 10 years ago. That's exactly what I mean. As this generation that's watching Twitch, that's around my age, as we get older, we understand time better, right? I don't necessarily like, oh, okay, I'm old. Like, I don't think like that, dude. I'm far from being an old geezer, because that's another 40 years away, and I understand what that means. You know? It's just, the passage of time is so damn interesting to me. It's just, weird. That's weird, man. Like, I remember 2006. I was here. I was there. I remember it. I graduated high school. I can recall events that I did during that year, right? Like, I knew what I was doing. Like, that's the strangest part to me. Like, when New Horizons launched, it was 19 years ago. Flew by in 2015. I know damn well what I was doing in 2015, you know? It's just, but you get that idea of what 10 years actually means. You get a very good grasp of time as you get older. It's very interesting. Of Course I Still Love You is 10 years old. That's crazy. Wow. Yeah, Dan, there you go. It's just very interesting to me. Like, I don't think if you're 16, you don't really understand what 10 years means. But if you're 36, like me, I know what 10 years means. I know what I was doing when this thing was flying by Pluto. We were covering it on stream for Space News. Like, I know where I was, right? Isn't that weird? 2010 to 2015 felt a little longer than 2015 to now. Laser Drifter, I think that doesn't necessarily have to do with our perception of time. It's just there are things that make time go by faster. Yeah, House, there you go. That sucks, dude. EJ 78er. I was born in 1988, dude. It's just very strange to me. Like, I'm not like, oh my gosh, I'm old. I'm fine. Like, I'm good to go. I get pretty good health. I'm good. I don't feel older. Like, except for some aches and pains from time to time. Like, and I know that people are going to be like, just wait 10 years. That's going to get worse. I get it. Like, just, yeah, concept of time, man. It's weird. Like, I know what 10 years is a lot better than I did when I was 18. You know nothing. You don't know what that means. You don't know what 10 years means. You don't know what 20 years means. Now I know, dude, I know exactly what that means, you know, because I've been competent for more than 20 years. Well, bear with me. You left school in 1988. Yeah, there you go. I would only assume that gets more different, that gets crazier as you get older. Like can you imagine, like, people that are 50, 60, 70 years old, like my parents' age. My parents are up around 70, right? Like, man, that must have, this the last, like, 50 years must have been like a blur. It's crazy. Taxi was born in 68, one of the dinos now. Well, I have a car that's younger than you, or not by much, though. Does that help? Yeah. Still kicking. Just saying. Almost same age. Actually, that was made in early 69, so it's almost the same age. What's weird is New Horizon launched before smartphones became a thing. Yeah. What's that color called? Rust. Rusty blue. I still think I'm 26, almost 55 years now. I also had to change my thinking that I've only lived. Yeah, Denny, right? That's what I'm talking about, dude. That's what I mean. It's like, I'm not like, I don't think about that like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so old, I'm an old man. No, dude. Dude, I'm still 26. Like, in my mind, I'm still good to go. Like, I'm good to go, but I'm 36. This is dope. This is great. You know? This is sweet. I like it. Wow, that's super interesting. Like, the passage of time is very interesting to me. Anyway, that's it for EJ's poignant thought moment. Remember, it's not the age, it's the mileage, okay? I'm low mileage. Probably not. Anyway. So we got an update about Blue Ghost from Firefly. What are they up to? As designed, Blue Ghost did not power up after the lunar night, but the mission is still ongoing. The Firefly team and NASA scientists are now analyzing nearly 120 gigabytes of data from our road trip and surface operations on the moon, unlocking new insights for future missions. Our last stamp in our moon passport is now complete. What an incredible journey. Looks like Firefly tried to get after it during the lunar night. Didn't work. I like that. 39, but in my mind I'm 29. And somehow my back is 59. Yeah, Dan, yeah, I know what you mean. How cold does lunar night get? Minus 270 Fahrenheit. Really cold. Really cold. Time for the grinding gears segment. You know what really grinds my gears? Crew capable post-certification Starliner missions. You know what really grinds my gears? Your Starliner capsule. Your Starliner capsule with your crew certification. That really grinds my gears, Brian. Anyway. You know what really grinds my gears? No, sorry. Holy crap. Brian, there's a message in my alphabet cereal. It says, oh, Peter, those are Cheerios. Certified Northeastern moment. Yeah, so what? What's really going to grind your gears is when you figure out that I can do an impression of the baby as well. Peter impression is a little rusty. It is, isn't it? Oh, thanks, Apache. Appreciate it. All right. Next bit. The next bit's coming. It's a repost from Alex. Oh, yeah. This is about the Space Force switching rides. Yeah. We already kind of covered that. That's a little bit of a redundant. What the hell? Orion is the best capsule ever. Oh. Hi. Fix your heat shield. Hey, it's still there. All right, sweet. Word? You know, you can't spell. Think about it, dudes. You can't spell locked in without Lockheed Martin. Why are you booing me? I'm right. I didn't know. I didn't know that they did. It's like, okay. No, I'm not going to watch what I say. You will get my unfiltered opinion. I really don't think flying people on the next flight is a good idea. But if empirically the science, the analysis says that it's okay, I mean, well, okay. Should have been booing yourself. Shh. What if you're sponsored? I can say with the utmost truth that I am not sponsored by any particular aerospace company or any aerospace entity on this stream in any way, shape, or form, and never have been. I give you my unfiltered opinions. Seriously, who in the aerospace industry would sponsor this stream? Nobody. You know why? Because dude, if I see something that I don't like, I'll say it. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's SpaceX. I don't give a frick. Let's go. It's about conveying the right news and not the right news. That sounds so like it's arbitrary or something. It's about using these opportunities as teaching moments, and sometimes that's at the behest of companies. So whatever. Make a better capsule next time. Just saying. I cook everybody equally. Yep. The English horse guy that likes shuttles. Anyway. All right, we got more from Firefly. Another Elytra mission on the books, or Elytra? Oh God, that's gonna invite my another Euler mission on the books, set to launch in 2027. Euler will perform on-demand orbital maneuvers and space domain awareness for the Department of Defense, further demonstrating our responsiveness on-orbit capabilities when and where our customers need them. Oh, God. No. I knew that was going to happen. I reject your flint and steel and chicken jockey nonsense and give you low taper fade. Okay. Can you imagine if Minecraft Steve had a low taper fade? You can't. Now, Flint Steel 5. Isn't that your same feeling towards Orion with them not doing Artemis 2 uncrewed with the heat shield? Outdoorsing, yeah, pretty much. Even okay, so even if Artemis 2 works, that's fine. That's fine and dandy. It works, and that's great. Okay, so they're redesigning the heat shield for Artemis 3. Are people going to fly on this redesigned heat shield for the first time? Is that what we're going to do? I don't think that's a good idea. I think that's, in fact, a really stupid idea. I don't think that's wise. But once again, I don't know. maybe Jared Isaacman will be able to change something about that once he, gets confirmed. This is coming from that guy. This week, the Senate Commerce Committee will hear from the president's nominee to be NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman. During our meeting, Mr. Isaacman committed to having American astronauts return to the lunar surface as soon as possible so we can develop the technologies needed to go to Mars. This moon mission must happen in the president's term, or else China will be... Sorry, I couldn't help it. Will beat us there and build the first moon bases. Okay. Artemis and the Moon to Mars program are critical for American leadership in space. Oh, with Reagan in the background. Look at that. Sorry, I just really wanted an excuse to say China. Yeah, I guess. I mean, even if China no doubt has lunar aspirations, that's fine. That's all fine and dandy. I just don't think they're near them. I think that China will get there sometime in maybe late 2020s, early 2030s. You got to build a big rocket to do it, guys. There's no way they're going to do it with EOR, with Earth Orbit Rendezvous. It's going to be a Long March 9. It's going to be a big rocket. And that's fine. Whatever. I mean, I still, even if the Artemis program kind of kept going at the pace that it's going at, I still think we'd beat them there. Not that it matters, but. To the moon before 2028, I seriously doubt that. Why? Long March 9. Sorry, I got it today. That makes me laugh every time. I saw some brain rot social media content that was just all of that, so it was like China. It was, I laughed. I don't know. I thought it was funny. Whatever. China. Long March 9. I don't know, guys. The lander ain't done. Yeah. Noobzor, let me ask you something wild. This is completely out. Like, I don't think that. I don't know. This is, in terms of policy, this would be completely out of left field. Do you think, like, if Rook started optimizing capital allocation at NASA and got them additional funding and got them more healthy and robust, right? Do you think that fielding a hypergolic 2-stage lander could be sufficient? Do not, floating disc. Do not. All right, Liglander. See ya, buddy. Thanks for the raid, dude. I'll talk to you later. Do you think we could field a LEM in time, or some other alternative landing operation? A better hypothetical there would be, do you think SLD, do you think Blue can tee their lander up in time as a redundancy? I think they can. Probably, but I doubt they can get the funding. Well, if you optimize the capital allocation, Noobzor, you already have the money. It's the point that I've been explaining for a little while. I think the money is there. NASA gets $23 billion a year. And I understand not all of that is, like, I know the cost breakdowns. I get it. I think if you get SLS optimized, if you really work around optimizing SLS for operations, right? And kind of removing the development budget slowly, or at least changing to an iterative development process from here on out for subsequent variants based off of flight data, you can free up a lot of extra capital, more than you might think. Because we know rockets are they're cheaper to operate. They are much harder to develop. SLS is eating up a lot of money because it's being developed still. if you come up with a concrete plan and a high based around a high cadence launch schedule, right? You basically lock in the funding for a long time, and you lock in less funding over a longer period of time, so you could free up capital to do other things. Just consider it. Like, is that? I think that is what they're going to try to do. Whether that is successful, I don't know. That sounds right. Does that help? Sounds right. Probably very old news from before I started watching the stream. What happened to the Aerojet oxygen-rich stage combustion engine meant to replace the RD-180? That is the Aerojet Rocketdyne 1, AR-1 engine. They made them, then they decided not to. Fair enough. I have my doubts, but it would be sick to see people back on the moon. Yeah, Noobzar, I ain't trying to change anybody's mind, you know, and sorry, I didn't mean to, like, call you out. I'm not politically motivated in this regard. I want people back on the moon. Like, frick me, right? Like, people could, like, sometimes confuse the few there. On the stream, I just want people on the moon. This should have been a thing 50 years ago, right? So, you know, what I'm trying to do is, like, I'm trying to think about this, because these are very lofty freaking goals, like, right? Like, I mean, you said it yourself, like, okay, right? I totally agree with you. And the thing is, I think they agree as well. So what's the strategy? That's where my mind goes. Okay, all right, they want to really do this. You want to get to the moon in 2028. How would you do that? How would you set that up? Well, you can't cancel SLS. That's not going to work. And we know that that's not going to happen because, I mean, a politician did just say that, but you take that for what it's worth, right? We know that that's probably not going to happen. Let's be real. It's probably not going to happen because nobody wants the gravy train to stop, which is fair, right? I think that's a fair assessment, right? So what's the plan? That's where my mind goes. What's the plan? Well, do we think getting NASA's budget doubled is a viable strategy to pursue going to the moon in 2028? Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. I mean, that'd be nice. That would be really nice, but probably not, right? That's probably not going to happen. So how are you going to do it? What's the plan? So what defaults to me is moving SLS into an operations standpoint. Moving it into an operations standpoint and locking in its schedule. So the block buy, what I've always talked about, is the way to do that. You're freeing up tons of capital doing that because it's not getting rammed into development costs for developing nothing, a rocket with no mission, right? You can kind of project your financials out a little ways, right? If you know that the rocket is going to launch 4 times a year, you can get a good handle on how much that's going to cost, right? So that will free up a lot of development capital. That will free up a lot of money. It's possible. Like, please frigging do it, right? Like, please do that. That would be great, you know? But who knows? I just try to think about how you're going to get there. It's a lofty goal. Like, that's doable. That is doable. It's doable. It's bold, but it's doable. Right? Like, that's not like we're going to the moon next year. I'd be like, sure you are. What, with the capsule that the heat shield doesn't work on? Oh, yeah, let's do that. Right? Like, 2028, though, bold, but doable. We could do that. The debate around this when it comes to funding a moon mission, which is private or public. Yeah, right, Mill? So, like, that's the other thing that I'm saying. Do you think we're, Congress is going to, you think that they're going to double NASA's budget? There's no freaking way. There's no way there's no way they'll roll with that. They have to know this, right? They have to know this. They can't not know that. If we're able to figure that out, the people that are, the people on Rook's team that are kind of, and his boss, they have to know that. There's no way that they don't, right? So what's the other ways to do it, right? Shifting around, capital allocation is the way to do it. So shifting around funds around NASA is the way to do that. How are you going to do that? Well, in my mind, the only way you're going to get people to stop riding the SLS gravy train is if you lock in SLS as guaranteed funding for congressional districts over the next God knows how many years, 10 years. I've always said 10 years, 4 launches a year, right? That's the only way they'll be like, okay, we'll take less money now, but we get guaranteed money over the next 10 years. Like, no doubt, right? That is a guarantee that money is going to be flowing into your congressional district. That'll allow them to free up capital, right? Am I thinking about this wrong? I think I'm thinking about it right, but I don't know. I'm not a political scientist, guys. But I think moving around capital allocation is what's going to fix that. I think that's the plan. But once again, I don't know. I'm taking a guess. Like, you really think 2026 on the moon is off the table? 2026 flyby is definitely on the table, Bortik. Yeah, we could do that. Sure. We should do that this year. Fix your fucking heat shield. I think going for a hypergolic lunar lander makes way more sense. It's straightforward, easy to manage, simpler plumbing, easy to store. Only problem with Blue Moon and Starship is the cryo liquids and how much of a headache they are to manage. Need serious cooling to stop boil off in space. Plus, their massive scale leans on untested in-orbit refueling, which is a risky bet. Yeah, exactly, Baron. I think shifting around capital allocation to fund a 2-stage hypergolic pressure-fed lander, something simple to get you started, is definitely a viable play. That is a safe bet. That's the safe idea. Because let's be real, getting back to the moon in 2028 is going to require some bold thinking. We are in the uncharted, like, oh crap, you're going to try to do this. That is probably the safest out of all the crazy ideas to get that done. Well, not crazy ideas, but you get the idea. Or do you? ICPS was also to get things started. Yeah, Hellfish, you're failing to understand context here. Yeah, the ICPS was going to get things started, right? And I would have been, I still don't think the ICPS was a good idea. In fact, I want to punch the person that thought that was a good idea. Norman Augustine, I'm looking at you. In Minecraft, though, not in real life. I think that's a very weird that's a very weird position to take, especially since Starship HLS and the Blue Moon lander is in the pipe, right? I.e., we have the long-term solutions, and the interim solution would stay interim, right? Because these other landers exist. You can't say that with the ICPS, right? Hypergolics could get us to the moon reliably fast. They can be refueled. We've demonstrated that multiple times in space. I know that the cryo bet is to jump on the water on the moon and go for the ISU bandwagon, but look at China's lunar plan. Baron, my criticism of Artemis with the fully cryogenic lunar landers, even Starship, has always been great. You're gonna pine for this water ice here. How the hell are you getting that there with a refuelable lunar lander? With a cryogenic lunar lander? How are we getting the equipment down there? Because the first equipment that you said you get sent there, you ain't getting back, right? Because the lander won't have any way to take off again. It's always chicken and the egg, right? I think the hypergalls are your mission assurance there to trump that thing, not to mitigate that risk, to retire that risk. That was a poor choice of words. To mitigate that risk, you know the hypergolic lander is going to work. You can use it to demonstrate ISRU, and then you leave that hypergolic lander there, and now you have ISRU, and now you can pave the way to bigger fully cryogenic landers. That's what makes the most sense to me. You know? And it's possible. It's totally doable. Like, this is not hypergolic landers. Heck, we just landed one on the moon. Firefly just landed one on the moon. Pretty well, actually. Just saying. We would know more about the funding of Congress to NASA in 2026-2077 fiscal spending report. Well, of course, Mill, we're theory crafting, though. This is about what we think they're going to do, you know? Anyway. Hey, S, what's going on? All right, couple more bits of space news here. I'm bringing Starship stuff is coming up on the tail end of this, but yeah, anyway. Let's see. NASA Marshall. Progress is being made towards NEO Surveyor's targeted launch in 2027. A major component of the of the mission has journeyed to JPL after completing tests at NASA Johnson. Watch the work JPL team is doing on this live feed. Now watch this feed. There you go. JPL's working on Neo right there. Good stuff. I'll admit the Neo Surveyor mission from NASA is a planned space-based infrared telescope designed to survey the solar system for potentially hazardous asteroids. All right, let's go, dude. Oh, dude, there's the chassis. Look. Hell yeah. That's cool, man. All right. Now we're talking. Bro, that looks like photon torpedoes come out of this thing. Look at that. Baron, that's great. You could build a lander big enough. That's all fine and dandy. Where's your rocket? You and I both know that propulsion for your rocket engine and your gigantic super heavy launch vehicle is your constraint here. The reason why I think China is... Don't get me wrong, fellas. All right. Hold on. Pause the Neo Surveyor talk for a second. I think China will get to the moon. You'd be stupid to think that they're not. Even if we get there first, they're still coming. You think you can stop their industrial base? You're out of your mind. Now, with all that being said, even with China's crazy industrial capacity, it is still going to take time to build out a lunar program. We need launch pads. Launch pads that are the size of Complex 39 or Site 110 in Baikonur. You need gigantic facilities to do this. So Baron, you linked me their lunar lander. Oh, they're already working on their lunar lander. That's great. Good. Where's your launch pad? Where's your rocket that's going to put this up there? Unless they're opting for an EOR, Earth Orbit Rendezvous style lunar mission. Once again, that's okay. You can do that. That's fine. That's a good way to do things. It's also way more complicated, and it'll take way more time to figure this out. To figure out how to dock your lander to an upper stage and dock your crew capsule to all that. Like you're basically assembling a space station on orbit and then sending it to the moon. Once again, totally viable way to do it. Maybe that's the way they do it. But now you just took your rocket's technical complexity and you pushed it towards your stage, your transfer stage, your human-rated vehicle, and your lander. You just made those more complicated because you didn't decide to launch the whole kit and caboodle in one shot. So we either start looking around for them demonstrating some type of EOR stuff. The space station might be, you could make that argument, sure, if they wanted to do EOR, right? But you're gonna need, they have the lander. Where's your crew-rated capsule? Are you gonna send the space flight capsule, the one that you're using right now? What is it called? Shenlong? You gonna send that one? Is that rated for rad shielding? Has there been any testing for this, right? Like, they will test it. Of course they will. The long story short, guys, the bedrock is there. The pieces are there. It's going to take time. It's going to take time because they don't know how to do it. Does that mean they can't figure it out? Hell no. They can absolutely figure it out. Does that make sense? Did you hear that they brought back the dire wolf? I don't know what that means. SLS plus HLS is needed for Artemis 3. We don't know the status of HLS, so Artemis 3 seems bold. Maybe HLS is already underway and will begin stacking. I think SpaceX is working on HLS already. I think they're just keeping it under wraps. Would that take longer to figure out to design a super heavy? Would that take longer to figure out than to design a super heavy rocket? Either one of those ways is extremely complicated, Lava. We know this. We know this in the West. I don't know if they know it. But once again, you'd be stupid to think that they can't figure it out. They built a space station on their own. China built a space station on their own. They know what they're doing. Even if it is lifted Western tech and lifted Russian technology, whatever. It's there. It works. Does it not? Right? Like, that's the thing, man. We sit there and be like, you just stole it. So what? It works. Scientists brought back dire wolves, 3 puppies, Jurassic Park style. Neat. Not sure what that has to do with space. Long March 10 could fly in 2026. Could. It's a 67.4 meter long, 5 meter diameter rocket. Okay. EOR then. It's going to take time figuring that out. Pad is nearly finished. Yeah, once again, it's still an EOR. Oh my goodness. It's still EOR, guys. There's no... It's going to take time to figure all that stuff out, dudes. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying they can't do it. Don't get confused. I'm not saying that the bedrock isn't there either. Could you please do my roll for ad time? Sure. Let's just interrupt this really, really good conversation. That's good. Yeah, really good discussion. Here, let's interrupt it with some ads, John. Sure. Roll for ad time, please. I got a 12. What did you get? You got a 2. Good. No ads. What were we talking about? Anyway, look, I'm not saying they don't have the industrial base, guys. Don't get confused. They absolutely do, and they'll absolutely get it. I'm telling you, it's going to take time. Into the 2030s. And you say, well, they've been in the land. That's great, dude. That's great. That still doesn't show me anything. If they aren't flight testing their landers and capsules for EOR with a transfer stage right now, you ain't getting to the moon anytime soon. Maybe 2029. Maybe. Which is why I said late 2020s, early 2030s. They're a little ways away. It's going to take some time. But you'd be stupid to think that they're not going to. They'll get it. They absolutely will. And you know what? They'll probably do it pretty damn good. You're talking about communists I had to derail. The latest footage of the pad was a couple months ago. Remind you of something? So, yeah, I see the resemblance. Baron, my question to you is this. Does this pad look anywhere near flight ready? Anywhere near flight ready? Pretty much, Outdoorsman. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. That is at least 12 to 15 years out. What? No. Oh. No, not really. Earliest flight is like 2 years away. You gonna send people on your first flight? China? Yeah, they would. Okay. For all mankind did. Alright, I'm ending this conversation. Let's talk about Starship. Harry Stranger... Harry Stranger has an update here. Did someone order another flame trench at 39A? A long-awaited, very high-resolution satellite image updated the future Starship launch pad, which has been seeing lots of activity over the last few months. Dude, the pilings are already in. Yo, let's go, dude. So this is at 39A. SpaceX has optimistically stated that they want a Starship launch from 39A by the end of this year. Starship from the Cape in 2025. Trey, it's hard to say, dude. It's hard to say. We need to look at Pad B at Boca Chica, and we need to, you know, when that's done, we can get a good finger on the pulse for how long it takes to build out this trench and everything, right? I think it also would be safe to assume that how long it took them to build the first trench at Boca Chica is not necessarily going to be how long this thing takes here. You're going to have to operate on a time scale, because what do I always say? Building 1 is going to take X amount of time. Building 2 is not going to take X as well. It's going to be like X minus 5, right? Like you build it the second time, you know what you're doing, you know how to make it. You know all the procedures, you know all the processes, you know what needs to get done first. It's a lot easier to do it the second, third, or fourth time, right? Hint, hint. So once we get, I mean, you could probably extrapolate the process here, but we don't know what a completed version of this looks like. You could extrapolate the process from the uncompleted Pad B, but it's going to be hard to, it'd be hard to figure it out exactly. It's April 7th right now. That gives them 8 months. Where was Pad B at Boca 8 months ago? Let's take a look. Let's see if Google Earth has the answer. Let's zoom in on Boca Chica. Boca Chica. So this picture right here was taken, you guys can't see it. It was taken on April 11th, 2024. This is a year ago. So in 12 months, they already have a completed pad. But like I said, it's not going to take them as much time to build the second pad because they know how to. You already figured out how to, right? I think, believe it or not, this is going to sound stupid, but I think end of the year is in the realm of possibility. It's in the realm of possibility. Let me just say that. I'll probably say Q1 2026 at this point with the information given. Keep in mind, we need to see how close Pad B is to completion. Now, the other thing to keep in mind here, one more thing to take into, your data point matrix here. This was a clean sheet. There was nothing here. They're starting work on this pad with a tower already completed. So take that for what it's worth. The other thing is that they had to tear out all of suborbital Pad B. Yes, so there are some factors here. Like I said, that's possible. It's possible, however unlikely, but it's possible. The biggest thing is that they already have the tower stacked. That's a big one. But if I recall correctly, they stacked the tower first and then started digging the flame trench as well. So I would contend, if we're going to do this, if we're actually going to do this, if we're going to think about this, right? What date did SpaceX start digging that flame trench at Pad B? When did they start doing it? How many months ago was that? I don't know off the top of my head. This is the pad in November of 24, like 4 months ago. So there's still a lot of pilings and digging going on here. I would say if this was in November of 24, right, I think it would, when do you think is the safe bet to say that they started? Booster 14 is lifting. August 2024. Let me see. I'd say they're at the same point right now. Actually, they're further along with 39A right now than they are with where Pad B was when they started the trench. It's possible. It's absolutely possible. I think that's pretty damn conclusive evidence. Yeah, that's absolutely possible. November was more than 4 months ago. Okay, I understand that, Mutter. That was, what was November? 6 months ago? What was August? August, so September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. 7 months ago. Yes, I counted on my fingers. I don't care. I got the right answer. Doesn't matter. So 7 months ago, the pad was in a lesser state of being completed than 39A is right now. I think it's possible. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. Once again, it depends on how much of Pad B. It depends on how much of Pad B, like when. It depends when Pad B is finished. Then we can get rid of we get our final extrapolation there, our logical extrapolation. Pad B is not finished. It's not even close to being finished. I would say Q1 2026 is much more likely. That's a live shot right now from Starbase Live of Booster 14 being lifted off of Pad A. I don't know what that means, third, but all right. I hope, whatever you do, I hope you're having a good day. What's that sticking up? Metal? Is the pad damaged? Doubt it. That's pretty neat. I'm sorry, third. It'll be alright, dude. Don't worry about it. It'll be alright. That's the deflector shields. Don't touch that. Have you ever seen that before? What, the thing that's on top? I've never seen that before, dude. I don't recall, but I don't think that's anything of note, to be honest with you. Anyway, happy for you. Thanks, third. Well, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry that you got dealt a crappy hand, dude. That's unfortunate. Hopefully I can make your day better. This is pretty neat, right? That's pretty cool. No, I wanted you guys to see this whole thing going on right here. You know, if we were standing on the OLM, we'd be about this big. Yeah. Not very big. One of my friends down at the Cape sent me these back in March. Last two segments needed for 39A OLM are being welded in. Yep. That's what she's. Why decommission? What's decommission? Bosnies. What are you talking about? The booster? Nothing is being decommissioned on your screen right now. Not that we know of. Why are they? If you, Bozzy, if you're asking about the high bay, this building right here, if you're asking about that one, what's going on in a resume? The high bay is being broken because they're building a bigger one. Interestingly, it looks like the cryo station at Massey's is possibly starting to be set up for 2 quick disconnect setup. Block 2 boosters. Oh, very interesting, Jake. How will Starship get to Florida for the launch? Barge, most likely, in the interim. Baron, it's gotten extraordinarily bad. It's gotten bad over the last couple of years, dude. It's okay. It's okay. I'll just keep doing my thing. Anyway. Just, like, what was that guy? What was that guy? Okay, like, I'm just curious. Bozzy, what were you talking about? Why decommissioned? What's going on in a resume, EJ? I don't... I'm trying to figure what that could possibly be in context of our conversation, and I'm just getting confused. Probably ESL, maybe Ender, yeah. If that's the case, I'm just trying to... Was I talking about anything getting blown up or decommissioned? Now I'm trying to think. I don't think I was. High bay decommit. Okay, cool. So I did get it right. All right, cool. All right. Told you. Yeah, I thank you. That really helps this situation a lot, Graham. Thank you for letting me know that you told me. I really appreciate you and your insight into things. What about the factory in Florida? Has it started construction yet? Yes. For the past 2 hours, you're fighting that chair. Is everything all right? It's the armrests, dude. Sometimes they move, like, out. Yeah, I don't know if I can really, like, show. Like, look. The armrests, like, I go to readjust, right? There's a button that's right where my thumb would be, and I go to readjust it, and the arm pushes out, so I push it back in. That's what's going on, dude. I'm like, I go to readjust and the armrest gets pushed out because I have to, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I'm just being an idiot. Marcus is not dead. Marcus is not dead. Marcus is my shop chair now. So you think they're going to reuse the booster, or do you think they're going to just put it in the ocean? The next logical iterative step, T-Man, would be to expend it. That's the next logical step. You wouldn't want to risk the pad. You first, if you're going to reuse a super heavy, you first got to show that that super heavy can do an ascent, right? Just like you proved that super heavy could do an ascent, and then you proved that super heavy could do a boost back, and then you proved that super heavy could do a precision landing, and then you tried to catch it. You'd be following the same modus operandi for a reused booster. So I do not think Booster 14 would be reused. I think the next logical step is to just make sure that it works again. Make sure it can separate from the pad. Make sure it can put a Starship up there. What about Greg? Greg, I don't know what happened to that chair. Random question out of nowhere. Thank you for telling me it was a random question. What did I do? What's your take on BSG? The old one's cool. New one's cool. They're both pretty cool. It's good sci-fi. I like the new one a lot. So say we all. What parking lot is this? This over here is the Roberts. It's Roberts Road. So this is where the Giga Bay at the Cape is going to be. They've already started getting pilings down for the bay. And just as we suspected, it's going to have an internal structure. There's no flying buttresses in this design. What's BSG? Battlestar Galactica. So yeah, SpaceX is working. They have started construction on the Giga Bay. We actually saw this land clearing operation in some of the From 2 footage, which is actually pretty cool. All right, what else do we got? What is this, Baron? Just in case. So this is Keith posted this. Bottle assembly for draining UDMH starting fluid from Nike 1 missile. That needs to not be near us. I don't know what Keith's doing with that, but yeah, you know, I'm sure it's something cool. I'm sure it's something useful. It was a different time, yeah, right. Yeah, Dan, that construction site was visible. We saw them doing the land clearing with From 2 footage, man. Blinker fluid? No, that's not blinker fluid, dude. That's not blinker fluid, guy. No. Anyway. All right, so. Wait, like Nike, the shoe company? Nike? No, Outdoorsman. It's a Nike missile. Nike, here, I'll show you. Look. Nikes are basically SAMs. That's the right way to look at them. They're SAMs. Nike missile sites used to be all over the United States. Everywhere. Just SAM sites everywhere. Like, think Fallout style. Yeah, it's a... Yeah, oh. Hello. Look, man. The idea of clustering SRBs together is not as far-fetched as you might think. It's a solid Kerbal strategy. You'd be surprised how often in the early parts of the program that they just did that. Why do missiles have canards? You need destabilized aerodynamics to intercept something. My favorite one was the Sprint missile. Out of all the Nikes, the Sprint missile is the best. Yeah, Baron. Yeah, Jinx. You guys want to see a sprint missile fire? Watch this. This probably can't play the music. So this is a sprint missile for high altitude defense. So like it's a SAM. The sprint missile was designed to do a little bit more than that though. But here, that's the short story. Look, watch. That's pretty neat, right? Oh, that's going really quick. Then you realize that that's all slow motion and that's how fast it actually goes. Look at the nose cone. Oh, look, it's heating up. Entry heating on ascent. Yeah, they made that sucker go so fast. Dude, the rest of this footage right here is slowed down. That's like 1,000 frames a second footage. This is how fast it goes in this next shot. Next one after this. Ready? Yeet! Yeah, and it went so ridiculously fast, shock heating accumulated on the nose. See that? That's re-entry heating in real time. Pretty cool, huh? Pretty cool. In it. Top right-hand video would also recommend RD701, a rocket engine too beautiful for this world. Let's see, what else we got here? We're streaming. Mysteries of the Abandoned. Oh, dude, hold on. The DT-466 rebuild is clutch. Well, he doesn't rebuild the clutch, but you get the idea. I mean, that's a pretty good one. Diesel oil is actually worse for gas engines. Depends on the type of engine. That's clickbait. Atomic Frontier, how to launch a nuclear missile. I'm in. Sweet. Pole Barn's got an engine swap where he puts a L7, an L98 from a C4 Corvette. He put it in a truck. That's pretty cool. What do we got here? Will it start? V8 supercharged two-stroke Detroit. Yeah, baby. That is that's the Titan missile that's in Arizona. What? Spring Valley, Arizona, I think. Something Valley. Yeah. Big old Titan missile. Got a lot of good suggested videos if you like engines. That's a Redstone missile, Ram. Green Valley, thank you, Coltec. Spring Valley, Green Valley, Gold Jacket, Green Jacket, who gives a snot? All right, guys. Actually, you guys want to see something cool? Here, this video's in my suggested. This one right here. Buddy bought a 100-ton lattice crane from the 70s. This Diesel Creek. That's an awesome channel. Freaking, you get to see him take apart the crane and stuff. It's actually pretty cool. Cranes are pretty awesome. This is like, that thing could lift up a tank. No problem. By the way, you need to see this. Tori Bruno's wife designed this. Okay. Yeah, this is the MKV.
Yeah. Just 12 inches long, gyroscopically balanced, and with thrusters at key points around its body, it is capable of instant changes of direction.
Cover. Cover track.
Think about the pulse width modulation you need to get that thing to do what it's doing.
Cover. Roll. All right.
No airplane could ever catch this machine.
Except it could, because it'll run out of fuel in 30 seconds. Just send it to Boca for DOS. Yep. Yeah, right. Exotic atmosphere, kinetic kill vehicle. I love how UFO nerds go crazy over that thing. It's, yeah. Yeah. MKVs, dude. Exo-atmospheric kinetic kill vehicle. Something like that. Will, you know what that is? The MKV? Have you ever seen Destin's nuclear reactor video? Yeah.
Just 12 inches long, gyroscopically balanced, and with thrusters at key points around its body, it is capable of instant changes of direction.
That's actually pretty damn impressive for the size to get it to do that. That's
Cover.
yeah, Baron, I know. It's pretty cool.
Cover tracking. Cover. Roll.
So, do you see that right there? It rolls 45 degrees left, right? And then relies on 2 thrusters, pulsating left-right at very high rates of modulation to stay stable. That right there is extraordinarily impressive. That's a really, really difficult thing to do. And the fact that see it roll back over, dude, that's nuts. Like that, this footage is old. Like that, the MKV is an old design, believe it or not. Like, I mean, you got stuff like THAAD, which basically has that at the top of it. Just saying. When was this? It was a mid-2000s box. It was a little while ago. Designed to make missiles not missile anymore. Yep. That'd be very good for an asteroid redirect. Maybe. Wasn't that from a test for the SDI? Carl, if it was from SDI, it's more than 20 years ago. SDI would have been 30 years ago. I remember seeing MKV on, well, the Learning Channel when it was, you know, the Learning Channel in the 2000s. But yeah, they must have been they could have been using older footage. I mean, dude, for the late 80s, early 90s, that's even more impressive, to be honest with you. Good stuff. So, guys, this just popped up in my feed from Joe Barnard. I really have to ask, is Joe has a new industrial space. So, couple of things here. Couple of things. Is he building rockets in here, or is he cooking? I mean, you know what I mean? Like, is it kitchen? Or is it a kitchen? It's got some real Breaking Bad vibes going on here. It's too clean. A rocket provides, chat. A rocket provides for its payload. Jesse, we gotta launch this payload. Jesse, we need a space shot. Come on, we have to cook. Anyway, no, Joe's cool. I'm happy for him that he's succeeding. That's really cool to see Mr. Blissington doing some pretty awesome stuff. Gonna build some sweet HPR in there. Hey, Joe, my garage is still bigger. Just saying. Whammy. Now, you see, my garage might be bigger, but he can actually, like, make the... I can't do that yet. He's just playing Schedule 1. That freaking game, dude. He has a clean one. His garage is cleaner than mine, and I just cleaned mine, which is annoying. He did a live stream a while ago saying that he was looking for land to buy so he could manufacture propellants. Cool. Can we get a Schedule 1 stream? Do you really want to see me play that game? I want to see you try to make a Schedule 1 stream educational. Frick Schedule 1. Yes, yes. I remember you and Joe did a collaboration a while back, a long time ago, yeah. A long time ago. All right, I'll figure. I don't know if we can work it into the schedule this week, but I'll think about it. Take a guess. Starter motor. You're welcome. Hang on
Discovery,
one moment.
go at throttle up.
Okay, cool. Von Reich, 24-month resub. All right, guys, that's going to do it for space news. But the stream isn't stopping here by no means. We're going to jump back over to workers and resources, and we're going to jump to workers and resources for the rest of the night, and that's a long way away until MS-27 launches. Johnny Kim's first launch, the Navy SEAL, doctor, astronaut, pilot, is scheduled for his first launch to the space station on the Soyuz MS-27 from Baikonur. We will be picking up the coverage whenever that coverage starts. And we will watch Johnny Kim on his inaugural ascent because Johnny Kim's the freaking man. So that's going to do it for space news. I'm going to flip us back over to workers and resources for the time being. Nice. First parts for Symphony have arrived, Baron. That's cool. Don't get me wrong, I like Boom, but you should do a deep dive about them and their propulsion design. Yeah. You forgot Cowboy Astronaut Millionaire. Yep. Dan, this stream is really helping my Monday feel less like a Monday. Thanks, dude. Yeah, my pleasure. All right, guys. Well, Dan, I'm going to jog the YouTube stream, and we're going to jump into part 26 of the Yakolgrad Republic. So anyway, thank you for watching Space News. Probably be about, I don't know, 2 to 3 minute intermission here. I'll be right back. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.